We heard from Zac Alley today via the West Virginia University football social media channel, and man, he blew me away.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia, brought to you by FanDuel, guys. Make sure you place your first $5 bet. Go to FanDuel.com, and you'll get that 150 in bonus bets. That's if you win. You can only do it at FanDuel, so make sure you go there today to get started. And thank you for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, guys. Being an everyday listener around here, you know who you are. If you are, you are. Zac Alley, baby. What do you know about that? Zac Alley, man, wasn't expecting to hear from him today. Thought that was going to be tomorrow, so I'm excited. I'm going to play you guys the clip because I feel like, this is going to be exciting for you guys if you haven't heard it yet. Because, man, he really laid it out there, I feel like, and there, like, even though there wasn't a question as to, what his answer, like there wasn't a question, then an answer. It's just an answer from him. I think it answers all of our questions that we've been having. So let's get there. I'm going to share a screen. I'm not really supposed to do this anymore, but for this one time, for this 50 seconds, I'm going to do it. Let's share over to Zac Alley being the man.
Zac Alley, defensive coordinator, linebackers coach, assistant head coach. I think it was Coach Rodriguez coming back, an opportunity to be a part of a great staff with an amazing, leader that has obviously a rich history here. The program does of being successful, and a lot of those years were under him and being one of the winningest programs in college football, and the opportunity to come back and really develop and build something special really meant a lot to me. And so excited to be back around the people and the things that we're going to get an opportunity to do here in West Virginia.
So that's the first answer. I felt that was all, a great spot on answer from him. Something that I wasn't expecting, I guess. He's really personable. He comes off really well. Love the way his cadence when he speaks. A lot of guys can be too slow, like Dana Holgerson. Like his cadence always threw me off. The Zac Alley cadence really good. I know that's just a weird thing to say overall, but that's just me. I'm a weird person, I guess. Rich Rod, right? He came back for Rich Rod. I know that's not some astronomical blow in your mind like type thing, but it confirms it, right? Like he chose Rich Rod over Brent Venables at the end of the day. Although let's not be crazy here. We know Venables' job could be at risk if they don't win this next upcoming year. So there was some strategy in there too. But what else did he say?
I talk about relentless all the time. That's our mindset. We're going to have a relentless way we play, how we prepare, how we outwork, out execute, and affect the game on our side of the ball. Our relentless mindset and how we play is who we're gonna be and what we're gonna hang our hat on.
I love that. I think that's exactly who we are. I think it fits exactly what we are. And I think Rich Rod knows what he has in Zac Alley as a person and a play caller. And so that's the promise he's making us right there, guys. A relentless work ethic, a relentless style of football. There is no giving up. There is no giving in, right? This is Zac Alley's promise to Mountaineer Nation. Relentlessness in approach, execution, and what have you. And for me, that's what has been lacking. Literally, that's what's been lacking. Jordan Alley. Oh God, please forgive me, Jordan Leslie and Zac Alley. Jordan Leslie's defenses were not always aggressive, especially this past year's defense. Obviously, there are multiple factors for why. And I like Jordan Leslie. I thought he was an awesome dude. I loved the way he spoke in press conferences, how honest he most normally was, and all that. So I have nothing bad to say about the person, but he, for whatever reason, his style stopped working in West Virginia. There was a couple year stretch where it was really good though, right? The 2020-21 defenses were very good, but those really weren't their players. They were a mixed match, right? And I feel like once their big issue, in my opinion, was developing talent and finding it, because they were having to go to lower levels and they were being unsuccessful where other programs do. Now, they had some hits, Beanie Bishop, Charles Woods, I always name those two. And there were a couple more, obviously. I mean, I couldn't forget my boy, Justin, obviously from Troy, that busted loose on the D-line last year. There have been others, but anyway, back to Zac Alley. What they do is they identify talent and they develop it. Actually, for those in the comments, I'm just going to ask you, as somebody who's been wrongly accused for something in the past and had to do time for that, just watch what you say when you say it, because this man was definitely absolved of anything in court yesterday, and so who knows what really happened. If you weren't there, you probably can't say he hit his wife. Women lie, men lie, but the courts saw fit to say that he didn't. So I just felt the need to say that. There's no reason to even bring that up in the chat or anything, please. It's just too negative, and I don't want that to be said if it's not true to the courts. That's it. Sorry, not pointing anybody out individually or singling anybody out. That's just my personal opinion on the matter. So as far as the Zac Alley situation goes, back to that really quick. Like I said, good at selecting talent, good at developing talent. And those are the two main factors I feel like that Jordan Leslie and crew, and maybe Jordan Leslie would have been good if he had a better staff around him, but man, he was surrounded by, I personally feel like, anyway, you look at Andrew Jackson was an very good to elite defensive line coach. But outside of that, man, it was slim pickings. I mean, we had a safeties coach trying to coach the entire secondary. We had a linebackers coach that had been all over different portions of defenses, at different points in his life, that I don't know that was his specialty necessarily. So I feel like this staff is obviously much more put together, much readier for the task, and we'll see. I mean, time's going to tell, but I love the youth on our staff. I love the credibility our staff has. I mean, you got a guy coming in from Oklahoma that improved the Oklahoma defense. It's not like it was bad, or it's not like it was, better before he got there. Still good, right? But got worse. No, it was not very good when he got there and got a lot better. I think they improved as much as 20, 30 spots in some positions, top 40, I think, in some spots. And that's you can win a championship, especially in the Big 12, with top 40 defense. You definitely can. It doesn't have to be top 20. So I feel like this is exciting for me. And like I said, stylistically, what really gets me going is that zone defense that we ran with Jordan Leslie. I get it. A lot of that was situational. A lot of that was because of what we had. But how many, raise your hand if you were just freaking out saying, please don't drop back in zone coverage another snap. They're picking us apart. Or please don't play 10 yards off the ball. They're running hitches or outs on us constantly. Or, there was just a myriad of things. So there was so much miscommunications going on. We had big play after big play after big play. It started with Penn State and ended with Texas Tech, right? I mean, it was just like it was the whole year. Well, here we go. I think, this staff is going to be capable of producing. The good thing about a relentless defense is you can win in spite of your deficiencies sometimes if you know how to coach. You got a guy that's out on the left side of your defense corner, or maybe you got a safety that's struggling and your corner that protects him usually is out. well, then you better fucking get after the quarterback, right? You know, for me, like I said, I think that's what he's going to bring here. So I'm excited. I'm glad to hear him speak. And I want to talk about a couple of other things too. On the other side of the break, do we have the pieces, or do I think we need more people? Because I'm very excited about what we have already. Let's talk about some of the pieces we have for this defense and just kind of put it together in our minds a little bit, just what we know is there. What's this defense going to look like? Because I think that's going to be fun to talk about. Be right back. This is Locked on West Virginia. And this episode of Locked on West Virginia is going to be brought to you by TurboTax. Taxes was dealing with piles of paperwork and frustrating forms, and then wondering and waiting and worrying if you were going to get your money back. Now Taxes is easily loading up forms to your TurboTax expert who's matched to your unique tax situation, an expert who's backed by the latest technology, which cross-checks millions of data points for 100% accuracy. While they won't work on your taxes, you get the real-time updates on their progress, and you get the most money back, guaranteed. All while you go about your day, no stressing, worrying, or waiting. This is Taxes Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert right now on TurboTax.com. Only available on with TurboTax, the live full service. Real-time updates only in the iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. It's segment 2. We're cracking a do, coming at you with some West Virginia football knowledge. I pronounce the K in knowledge. Not really. Okay, so I brought up here the transfer portal tracker that I have. Thank you to Dylan, who's in the chat, by the way. Everybody give Dylan that clap emoji. Thank you, Dylan, for putting together these portals, this portal haul here. So obviously they're the let's see if I can. It's kind of hard right now because I don't know if there's a list with just what we have on the roster now out there. I doubt there is, but let's see. Yeah, see, this one here's got CJ Donaldson. I don't know if I can. Well, let's see here. This is updated. Let me just look at a couple things here really quick. Let's see, 2025 roster. Yeah. This might have everybody. We'll give it a shot here because there is some other guys on here I think that make a difference. Now we're talking about from the defense perspective right here. So who do we already have on the team? Now there could be some that I miss because I don't know how comprehensive this list is. But let's just start with Hammond Russell. That's a guy I think that you can plug right in as a starter that's not a transfer guy, right? Elijah Kinsler, he was a redshirt freshman, I believe, last year. You got Eddie V back, which is going to be huge. Mekhi Byerson is back, I think is going to be big. You got Quentin Goins, who may play a little more. Asani Redwood, another big-time guy coming back, I think is going to be definitely something to watch for. Who else have you got going on here? Looking for another couple guys here on that defensive line or linebacking room that's coming back. Obviously, at linebacker, my boy Reed Carrico will be coming back. You got, let's see if I can put this up in positions that would make it a little easier than having to scroll through the entire thing. Let's see. That's a grid. Let's try grid. Yeah, that's a little easier for sure. Okay, because they did put numbers out for players, and I know there's going to be some missing on here. But, that's just how it goes. Zah Jackson at corner, I think that's going to be an interesting piece because he's just so good in high school. So Devontae Golden Nelson, Michael Coach Jr. at corner, obviously. It's kind of hard. I wish I would have went a different route than just reading it from here, but Jason Chambers, I'm just going to read some defensive pieces off that stick out to me, and then we're going to put them together on the fly and talk about, is that a good defense as it stands? Because I think I'm just going to name guys I think are going to have a chance to start or be in the 2 deep. So let's start with, and it's just going by jersey number. Devontae Golden Nelson, 2 deep. Michael Coach Jr., stud starter, probably all Big 12, maybe All American. I believe that. Jordan Walker, starter or 2 deep. I'm not sure which one it'll be, but it'll be one of them. Fred Perry, starter, right? How do I feel about those guys as starter? Good. Like the safety room is really good. Justin Harrington. There's another one, right? The 6'3", 214 guy from Washington/Oklahoma. If he's 100% healthy, could be the most talented guy in that room. And that's not even exaggerating at all. Like, he started at Oklahoma in 2023. We know that. What is he now? We don't know. But I do think he's obviously in the 2 deep, probably going to start. Then you look at Braden Siders, the Bandit, 6'2", 241. Well, I mean, he's probably going to back up Jamori, right? If he beats out Jamori Robinson, then he's really good. But he's in the 2 deep, right? I feel good about Siders at that spot. What about Kikora Tarnu, a guy that you look at and say, hey, he's played in this defense before. Hey, he doesn't have to learn it. Pretty impressive. And he really came on last year as a safety, 6 feet, 198 pounds. Let's see what he looks like this year. Ben Cutter, 2 deep. Absolutely. No doubt about it. I love Ben Cutter. And he's got a lot of snaps under his belt. So what about Mikey Preston? Not sure about him. That was what I didn't even mean to read. Keon Washington, I think he's probably a guy that you look at that could make a push this year, but he's a redshirt freshman. We'll see. We'll see on him. Jason Chambers, there's another guy I think will be in the 2 deep. I'm a big fan of his. I went and watched a lot of his App State stuff. Very good. Jordan Jackson, that's another one. He's gone, so to cross that off, I'm pretty sure he's gone, right? Aren't the brothers gone? Jason Cross, not sure on that one. Chris Henry, not sure on that one. I don't think they're going to be in the 2 deep, obviously. I mean, I don't think that's something crazy. What about – there's a couple others on the list that you can look at that's been on the team especially. Orion Fisher, I think, is an interesting one. That's a 6'6", 225-pound bandit. I've liked his tape for a long time, and if he comes on, he could make an impact. Ramondo Johnson, the freshman, I liked his tape coming out of high school. Wilson Telemac, as a true freshman at 6'6", 254 pounds on the defensive line, I think is going to make an immediate impact. I really do. Michael Hasty is another one I think is going to make an immediate impact as a freshman. There are a bunch of others. Like Amir Leonard John Charles is another guy that's 299 pounds, 6'4", and can move on the inside. He'll be interesting to look at. So, they've got a lot of bodies to work with, no doubt. On the defensive line and linebacker room, and then they're rebuilding the safeties room. Because you look at just the portal acquisitions alone, and I didn't see a couple other guys I know are going to be on there, by the way. So that's not everybody. It's just kind of hard to do this on the fly. But just on defense, like I said, at least that's separated here. Jamori Robinson is going to be, I think, the key to Jamori Robinson and probably – I don't know, whoever they decide to bring off the edge from into the corner spot. There's a couple guys that you could put there. And then at linebacker, Chase Wilson, I think are all going to be huge pieces for what I think is going to be a very aggressive defense. So overall, I think they have 75% of what they want here. It's not 100%. I kept getting a bunch of text messages. Making sure it's not important. Okay. I feel like that, and that's not including, by the way, Adam Tomczyk, Keenan Eck, guys like that from JUCO that I also think are really going to help at the defensive end, bandit, linebacker spots. There's a lot of bodies. I think we're going to lose a few more guys. I don't know who yet. Maybe a couple of the guys I named on that list. There are guys that I think can make an impact that we just don't know about yet too. But I think like I said, about 75% of the way there. I feel pretty good knowing that they put a lot of work into this defense already, and it's way further along than it was at any point last year. Because I'll be honest, I'll be totally shocked if Michael Coates isn't A-plus player for us. Like, we were so lucky to land him as a corner, and preventing him from going to Ole Miss like we did. If he would have went to Ole Miss, who knows what would have happened. So, really important, man, that we were able to lock him up. You know, you guys know well, anytime you can lock up one side of the field, you're in good shape, and I think he'll be able to do that. Up next on Locked On West Virginia, guys, I'll give you my final thoughts, and then we'll get ready for some basketball. Stick around. And we are back here on Locked On West Virginia. That was cool. I wasn't expecting that from the University Zac Alley to speak like that. So it's going to be cool. I can't wait till tomorrow to hear him again. That's going to be something, because we're going to get Coach Rod. We're going to get Zac Alley again, I assume. I don't know if that was a snippet or just a prelude to what we're going to get tomorrow. We know they're going to speak tomorrow. Did anybody know the time? I thought I seen 2:00, but I could be wrong on that. So hopefully they get some really good questions, and other staff members. I want to see everybody. I want to see Bicknell. I want to see them all. I don't know how many guys are going to be talking, but you assume that at least Rich Rod and Zac Alley are going to speak, and that's going to be super fun. I named 10 questions that I would ask in a previous episode, 2 or 3 episodes ago. And then people in the comments named some that I'm going to have to get a new mic set up here, because it's killing my neck looking up at you guys like this. Yeah, I'm going to be super excited to see what Mike Ostie and guys ask tomorrow that have media availability, because there are some pretty good questions out there. Obviously, the quarterback battle question. And are you going to go after any more? You know, I'd like to get a definitive answer. Do you think you need another quarterback on the roster? Do you think you need more offensive linemen? The kind of things like that. Zac Alley, would love to ask him about specific players on the defense. You know, obviously Robinson and Coates, the first two on my mind, and then Wilson a close third. Actually, Wilson's probably in that same boat. But I mean, like, when you think about the linebacker room next year, it's going to be better than people realize with Reed Carrico and Chase Wilson. Like, just those two alone, I think are going to be real big time, with Ben Cutter and some others. But maybe we could get a little more athletic in that room at starter. But we'll see. Chase Wilson's an athlete, don't get me wrong. But do we have the Josiah Trotter or Trey Lathan in there this year? I don't know. I don't know that you need it, but I don't know. You know, like, I'll tell you guys something that Chase Wilson told me on the phone, because we were supposed to do an interview. Actually, I'll need to call him today about that. I'm going to call Chase Wilson today and ask him. Here's the recruiting pitch, and tell me this isn't a bad-ass recruiting pitch. The recruiting pitch for Chase Wilson from Alley was, you can be Danny Stutzman in this defense. And for those of you who don't know who that is, he's like one of the greatest linebackers in school history at Oklahoma. Like, he's in the conversation with name somebody. He's in the conversation. 6'4", 245 pounds, just absolute monster that you would take all day, every day, so he had 110 tackles this year, 104 in 2023, 124 in 2022, 3, 6, 7, 8 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, fumble recovery, and interception for a touchdown. Just an insane career. And I mean, you look against like Missouri, he had 20 tackles in that game. Anyway, that linebacker spot in this defense is extremely important. And I think Chase Wilson's going to play a huge part. And if you haven't watched Chase's tape, by the way, he's not as big as Danny Stutzman, I don't think. Let me make sure. I think he's more like 6'2", but let's see. And to be honest, it's like wrestling. A lot of players are billed a little bit bigger than they actually are. Let's see. Colorado State. So Chase Wilson is 6'1", 230. Not small, but it's not 6'4", 245 either. But he can run around. He's got a lot of athleticism and speed. So we'll see. Like I said, I like him there at the spot, and we will see if he can replicate anything like that, because as you know, or if you don't know, now you do, Chase Wilson had just insane stats himself when he was at Colorado State. 98 total tackles last year, 107 in 2023. So, I mean, those are right there on par with something Stutzman did, really. Although just a small, one lower level down, but still, I think important. All right, guys, let's watch some basketball here. We got 2 hours. I just wanted to get this video in because I was excited when I seen Alley speak. I'm like, finally. Or as The Rock would say, finally, Zac Alley has come back to Morgantown, or something like that. Appreciate you guys for hopping in. I don't got much else. Fear the mullet, absolutely. Somebody's talking about Bosworth. I know it. I could just buy that saying. That's got to be what it is. Pretty funny. All right, y'all. Thanks for coming in. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. I'll probably be live after the game if internet permits. It all depends on that bandwidth, or whatever they call it. So I'll check it and I'll let you guys know. I'll have something out 30 minutes before the game goes final if I'm going live. Just check YouTube. It'll notify you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications. And thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, guys, and for being part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team every single day. If you could and wouldn't mind, Locked On College Basketball, guys, is a great show. Check them out with Isaac Shade and Andy Patton. Don't wait for March. Be the most informed college basketball fan now. Find Locked On College Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to our podcast. And I'll see you on the next one, guys. West Virginia goes over on Cincinnati tonight, and I think we dominate them in a big bounce back. I'll see you after.